Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 4. So, I think it was about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, can't remember how long ago it was anyway, around that time, we got the casting of Amanda McCoy for Superman and Lois's fourth and final season, who will be like Lex Luthor's, second in charge, if you want to put it. And I did say in the video that this could be the last casting announcement for the show as a whole, as they move into the back half of filming for this final season, but you never know who else could be showing up and, who they were saving for the back half, considering on, logistics and everything like that. And it was important to remember that in the opening half of this upcoming fourth season, they were going to be using that for like the returning guest appearances of the former series regulars. So they weren't really going to introduce any new characters, you would assume, at that point in the season, because they're dealing with the older characters that they're sort of farewelling, and just that first half itself could be the farewell to Smallville as a main setting for the show also, and then maybe we move into Metropolis for the back half. And, potentially a new casting for this fourth and final season hints at that a bit more, and maybe this is also the final casting for the show, and it could be one of the more iconic castings alongside it as well. So over the past day or so, we got the announcement through an exclusive report by TV Line. So they got the exclusive information that Jimmy Olsen is finally on his way to Superman and Lois. And, I might be using, finally there a bit too heavily, because it's not like we have spent a ridiculous amount of time in the Daily Planet to warrant the constant questioning of where the hell is Jimmy Olsen. It's not like they're name dropping him every second episode and stuff like that. But yeah, he is coming, and they are on the fourth, and I think the fourth last episode now, I think. Maybe the third, but I think it's the fourth based off the timing there. So this casting itself could hint at maybe the show leaving on a lighter and a more promising note for these characters going forward, rather than like a more grim ending that something might go down. So it looks like he might be debuting in episode 7 by the looks of it. So that's 4 episodes there until the last episode. So decent, I guess, screen time for Jimmy. But anyway, let us read the report from TV Line that not only reveals who is playing the iconic role of Jimmy Olsen in this final season of Superman and Lois, but also a description of the character itself that maybe gives us a bit of a bit of insight into his relationship with both Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and maybe even Superman. Another iconic DC character is making tracks for the CW. Expected to premiere this fall, the fourth and final season of Superman and Lois will introduce Douglas Smith as Daily Planet photographer Jimmy Olsen, TV Line has learned exclusively. Superman and Lois' incarnation of Jimmy is an extroverted 20-something known for being the life of the party around the office. Despite being work colleagues with Clark, he's been unable to get him out of his awkward shell, according to Jimmy's official description. Unaware of Clark's super secret, Jimmy's still determined to become his pal. Douglas Smith is best known for playing Ben Henriksen on HBO's Big Love and Corey Brockfield in the second season of HBO's Big Little Lies. And he's also, I'll skip some of that's there, but also the fun fact is that he's the younger brother of Gregory Smith, who has directed 8 episodes of Superman and Lois, and we know is directing, I think, 2 episodes so far of this final season. I don't know, so maybe the coincidence could be that maybe Gregory Smith directs the debut episode for Jimmy Olsen, played by his younger brother. But my initial thoughts of this casting is, it's fun. Like, I was not expecting to get Jimmy Olsen really on the show at all, mainly because there hasn't been really much reference to him at all, and there's, so people have been wanting Jimmy to come in, but also the setting of the show, like we haven't been at the Daily Planet too much, so unless we shifted completely and it warranted bringing Jimmy in, then that was, then it would work. But I think it's cool that with a show that's really got a really good adaptation of Clark and Superman, a really good adaptation of Lois, and what looks to be a really good adaptation of Lex as well, that we bring in this other sort of core bit of like the Superman mythology, at least in regards to like the inner circle, if you want to put it, of Jimmy Olsen, and we potentially try and get another really good adaptation there. And based off his look and stuff, it looks like he'll be a fun Jimmy Olsen, especially for maybe one that's, I don't want to say a bit older, because it's not like he's 35, 40, like he's still going to be, I would say mid-20s, they say 20-something, so I don't know, maybe they're just sort of like, he's like 22 to 26, I don't know, something like that. They don't specify his age too much there, but I think that maybe that age is more to him that he's been at the planet for a few years, more than being like there for the first year of an internship or something. But yeah, based off this, I have no worries about it. I'm just excited to see where he shows up. The issue is that we're going to be waiting a while, because he's going to be showing up in the back half of this final season, and we won't get the start of this final season until, like, what? I don't know, 6, 6 months from now, roughly, or something like that. So still a while until we get any like episodes with Jimmy in it, but we might get a first look sooner rather than later. Well, that's a wait and see. Now, one big question that a lot of people have is that, was Jimmy around the Kents and the Daily Planet before the Kents went to the farm? And we already know the answer to that. And that it's, the answer to that is yes. Now, we don't necessarily know the relationship there, but we know that Jimmy was mentioned back in, I think it was season 1 in that episode where like, Clark was having the flashbacks to when he was starting off as Superman, first met Lois, starting off the Daily Planet, everything like that. Jimmy is mentioned in that episode. He's not shown, obviously, but he's mentioned. However, maybe they could retcon this if they want to. It wouldn't surprise me too much if, like the Jimmy they knew back then was maybe like a teenage intern, and maybe a bit like of an annoyance, and that might hint at the description of the character there, where like he wants to be pals with Clark and stuff like that. But maybe they just didn't run into each other too much, and he just knew him as the intern that was doing mail runs or something like that. But now in the current day, he's just a bit more of like a more established photographer for the Daily Planet, and it allows him, Clark, and also Lois to have a bit more of a rapport and not only like a working relationship, but also potentially become friends and set them up for what we, usually see Clark, Jimmy, and Lois as, in the comics and other Superman properties. And, when they come back to the Daily Planet in regards to Clark and Lois, Jimmy might be super stoked to have them there. But also, there's also the thing where he doesn't know about Clark's secret, so that makes you wonder, will Jimmy find out that Clark is Superman in this final season? Maybe that could be a fun thing they do in the series finale if Jimmy features there. Now, we also did get this photo. There was actually 2 photos, but the same photo, just one's in black and white, one's in color. And it was posted on Instagram by not Bitsy Tulloch, but it was actually Superman himself, Tyler Hoechlin. But it's with himself and Lois Lane herself, Bitsy Tulloch, in the bullpen, I guess it is, like the main area of the Daily Planet. We had seen a photo from, I think, episode 1 of them in the Daily Planet, but that looks like it's going to be a flashback, while this does look like it's present day. So I think once we get into the back half of this final season of the show, it's going to feel like we're almost witnessing Superman, Clark, Lois, and even Jimmy, and I guess even Lex Luthor, all in their prime, if you want to put it, which to me sounds like an epic way to end off the show, as well as finish it in a way which still allows these characters to continue, I guess, with the best version of themselves going forward. Because the thing with Lex Luthor, people might go, oh, hold on, this Lex Luthor seems a bit older, but it doesn't really seem like Superman and Lex had too much of a rivalry before this. It seems like this is what's going to stem the rivalry going forward. It seems like Lex's biggest issue is probably against Lois. So I think this final season could really show the birth of a more back and forth between Superman and Lex, because it didn't seem to be that big, at least based off what we saw in season 3. Now, a lot of people are surprised that Jimmy Olsen was allowed to be on this show or this final season, because with Gunn, he has his movie coming along, which will have Jimmy Olsen as a heavily featured character played by Skylar Gisondo. Now, I think the easy answer to this is that all these episodes of Superman Lois will be out. We'll see them with our eyes and everything before Superman, or I was going to say Superman Legacy, but before Superman Now comes out. So that's the easy answer. Like if Superman and Lois was continuing after this season and would cross over with that Superman movie, then maybe Jimmy Olsen wouldn't be allowed, if there was a potential that he might continue as well. Like it wasn't like a small 2-episode run or something like that. But the show's going to be done before that Superman movie comes out, so I don't see there be too many issues with there. I don't even know if Warner Brothers or DC really had to intervene too much, because there's not going to be that much any crossover. So I don't think there was too much of an issue there, but I can understand people being surprised still, just because there has been issues in the past. Now, one interesting thing that I did note, I didn't see too many people talking about it, but then again, I didn't really browse too much, to be completely honest, but Bitsy Tulloch, who obviously plays Lois, as I said, she did comment on that photo that Tyler Hoechlin posted saying, "Going to miss you, Kansas." So does that indicate, or maybe even confirm, if you want to jump to conclusions, that once we enter these final, 4 or so episodes, maybe even 5 episodes, a complete back half, that it's purely Metropolis, no more Smallville? There were a lot of indications going into this season that was going to be the case, especially when it came to the locations that were running up on time, that they used for Smallville locations, and even locations that were used in previous seasons that they didn't use at all, and they moved them into indoor filming. So that there was a lot of indications that Metropolis was going to become the main location in the back half, or even maybe the whole season, but we knew that Smallville looked to be most of the first half at the very least. So this could be yet another indicator that's going to be the case. You don't want to jump to conclusions, as I said, but it just seems like that's going to be the case. Also, maybe they also saved a lot of money in the first half using indoor sets and all that, just limiting costs, compared to what they did in previous seasons, and then it gives them some more money to do more Metropolis stuff that one would expect in a Superman show in this back half. Of course, it's an entire wait and see situation, but there's just a lot of different indications that have played into that. But we've had like no public filming in like downtown Vancouver, which would be obviously where they'd make Metropolis, like they've done in previous seasons and with other shows and stuff like that. So there's been nothing like that as of yet. But as I said, maybe they're saving the money. So maybe in those final 2-3 episodes, there is more of that stuff on the streets. And as I've said before in previous videos, it doesn't mean they've done no public filming. It's just sometimes they get away with it. They're a bit more sly with it because they do it in like a quieter part of town, maybe an alley, or maybe like a plaza thing where it's a bit easier to get away with it, and people just don't know about it. It's happened a lot in the past, not only with Superman, but also or Superman and Lois, when I say, but also some of the other shows that are filmed up there in Vancouver. So they can get away with it. It's just usually few and far between. So I'd be surprised if they go away with everything this season. So maybe in the next the next few weeks, we see more of that public filming, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you like this casting for Jimmy Olsen? What do you think they got planned? Do you think we're going Metropolis full time after, episode 5 or 6? Let me know in the comments and any thoughts you have. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.